When you're creating a tween that follows a path, you're not always going to have a symmetrical shape like a circle. Sometimes you might have something like an airplane or a car that's actually pointed in a specific direction. And if you're moving along that path and that path is winding back and forth, you might want that object to automatically rotate so that it's following the direction of the path. Well, in this video, I'm going to show you how to do it, and it's actually a very easy process. We're going to start in a similar fashion, except we're going to use the Poly Star tool instead of the Circle tool. And under our tool settings, I'm going to click on Options. We're going to make a polygon that has 3 sides. So we're basically making a triangle. So we'll click on OK. And I want the triangle to point to the right, so we'll drag out to the right. I'm going to hold on to Shift so that it stays at a 90-degree angle, so it's pointing straight to the right. There we go. And then I'll hit V to switch to the selection tool. And just to make this a little more interesting, I'm going to hold on to the Option key, or the Alt key on a PC. I'm going to hover over the left edge right in the middle and click and drag to the right. And that will basically create another point in there. So now we have a little arrow pointing to the right. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And I'm going to drag these handles in so that it's not quite so wide or quite so tall. That looks pretty good. I'll hit Command 1 or Control 1 on a PC to zoom back out to 100%. Hold on to space and we can click and drag to pan around. And then I'm going to click on the shape and convert it to a symbol. Now, what's the keyboard shortcut for converting to a symbol? It's F8. So we're going to hit F8. We'll get the Convert to Symbol dialog. We'll call this arrow. It's going to be a movie clip, and we'll click on OK. So here's our arrow. Now we're going to make a motion tween, and this is a very quick process. Remember, we just right-click, create motion tween, drag it to the ending location, and we're done. Now I want to make this a little bit more complicated. I want to make another S shape here, so I'm going to click and drag up to curve it one direction, and then using the subselection tool, I'm going to click on the left handle here, and we'll see that it gives us this Bezier curve handle. We'll grab that handle and drag it down. So now we have an S curve. Now if we go back to the selection tool and then come down to our timeline and click and drag across from frame 1, we'll see our object is animating along that curve, but it's pointing straight to the right the entire time. And we don't want that. We want it to curve along with it. So the way we can do that is we can click on the shape first of all and go to the Free Transform tool, and I'm going to rotate it so that it's pointing in the right direction. We want it to point in the direction of the curve, and it might be easier if we zoom in a little bit. So we just want it to rotate down until it's pointing in the direction that it's actually moving at that point. And then we'll jump to frame 24. We'll just click on the playhead at frame 24, where it's in the last keyframe, and then we're going to make sure that it's rotated facing in the direction that it's going. Okay, so now if we zoom out, Command 1, and play across the timeline, we'll see that it's constantly pointing down now. So that still didn't help us very much, but if we click anywhere on the timeline on this tween, and then go over to our Properties panel, you'll see that we have an option for rotation. And inside this rotation section, there's a little check mark for Orient to Path. And if we click on that, you'll see that it immediately reoriented our shape. We had it on frame 11 here, and it automatically reoriented it so that it was following the path. And you'll also see that it added a bunch of extra keyframes here. And if we click and drag across now, we'll see that it's automatically changing directions to follow the path. And if we hit Control-Enter to test our movie, we can see that happening. And that's a very, very powerful thing to be able to do. Definitely saves you a lot of time because you don't have to go in now and make all of those keyframes yourself. It will do that for you. So that's how you orient a rotation to the path. So let's save our file. File, Save As. Inside our Files folder, we'll create a new folder called Chapter 15. And in the Chapter 15 folder, I'm going to save this as Orient to path.fla. So that file is available for you if you want to take a look at it. We'll click on Save, and we'll move on with the next video.